this individual. What they did before has nothing to do with this person's doing now. Those are all separate things. They are very, very different. That is insanely illogical. That does not make sense. That is not how this works. You have a very corrupt organization and not trust it because it has an insanely bad track record. But it doesn't. It has an insanely good track record, first off. Secondly, it's not just an organization. These people are not all working together. They're not all in business meetings all day deciding what they're going to do. They're not all like hanging out and making plans with one another. That's not how this works. That's not how the government works, okay? They are all separate individuals doing separate things. That's how it's built. That's what checks and balances are. This is how it's all organized. This is like, it doesn't make sense to act like, oh, the president lied yesterday, so my mayor is also a liar. Like, this doesn't make sense. What do you mean, what context? In the context of trusting the government versus being skeptical of the government. What other context would we possibly be talking about? What do you mean, what context? What the hell? What do you mean, what context? We're talking about trusting institutions in the government. What do you mean, what context? Here, I can get definitions for you guys. Trust. All right. So, Destiny and Shoe0nhead have had a number of back and forths back in the day on Twitter. I heard Destiny recently say that he's never had any sort of engagement with her, so I guess he totally forgot about the engagements that they had. So yeah, I guess he forgot or doesn't remember, but yeah, he dug into her a number of times on Twitter and asked her to come on the show, and then for like a year afterwards, she made fun of Destiny, saying that he kept trying to debate her, and he's a debate me bro, and he's super aggressive and autistic, and all that sort of stuff. So, both like, yes, please, hell yes. Both of them were super excited about the proposition. So, they were not Tom is lying. It's on video, Lauren, okay? It's on video. It's on his stream. You cannot lie like this. I've got the receipts. Angela was like, no thanks, Tom. I'll take Lauren. No, you are lying. You are just making it up. It's on video. You can't lie. It's all there. The real question is, what did BPF think of the proposition? BPF had just gotten back onto the show. Like, his internet went out, and so he was off for a minute. And so right when he popped back on, they pulled my comment up. And Lauren and Angela both got really excited. And I don't think he knew why they were so excited. But so, I guess I'm supposed to go through it like this. So, Shoe0nhead today posted, which, if you don't know who Shoe0nhead is, I did a video essay on her a while back. You should go watch it. Super great video essay talking about Vosh, talking about Xanderhall, talking about Demon Mama, talking about the fact that mainly I disagree with Shoe0nhead on a whole lot of stuff. She's a populist. She's got that populist brain rot, but she's pretty cool. She's pretty reasonable. She's a funny chick, but I disagree with her pretty hardcore on her politics. Yet they will take her politics and just be insanely bad faith with it. They are so bad faith, and they will interpret everything she says to mean something totally different. The left attacks her for the craziest freaking crap, starts calling her a Nazi and a Nazi sympathizer, a conspiracy theorist. Like, they call her all sorts of crap, which normally all of that comes with just being a populist. Like, being a populist is already being a conspiracy theorist to some extent, but not any more so than a socialist. And all of the people who are attacking her are socialists. So they're all conspiracy theorists to the same extent. They're all populists to the same extent, because they think like the overlords and the elites are all taking over and, trying to, trans your kids or Christian your kids or whatever, who knows. But they're all, kill me, I need to stop simping. Raiders cat, you are in the right place, homie. Okay? You are in the right place. You are You are safe here. This is a safe space for simping. Let it out. Let it all out. Okay? It's not frowned upon here, okay? Yes, we all love Shoe. We all think Shoe's hot. Her boyfriend's in chat once a while. He thinks she's hot too. Like, we're all here for it, okay? But anyway, so yeah, Shoe0nhead said, when people distrust their leaders after decades of being gaslit and lied to, you get conspiracy theorists. I don't know how someone can look at our history and come to the conclusion that was all in the past and we don't and we don't do shit like that anymore. It's literally just pattern recognition. So honestly, I didn't even know that they were going to talk about like conspiracy theorism and stuff. I hadn't read any of this, so I didn't know that we were going to get into the conspiracy theorist stuff. But they are conspiracy theorists, and that's what conspiracy theorism is. That's what it is. It is just people recognizing patterns, but then they're drawing conclusions from those patterns. They're seeing dots that may not be connected and then connecting them, and like there's a whole lot of information that's missing in between, but they go ahead and connect it anyways. And they'll use some bullcrap excuse of like, oh, well, you know, what's like the easiest explanation is the most likely blah, 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 or whatever. I don't know what it is. But anyways, it's not, they don't even go for the easiest explanation or the most likely explanation. They go over some crazy bullcrap like Democrats and Republicans are all working together to take away your rights so that they can all get rich. That's the yeah, Occam's razor sort of crap. Like, but that's not what they go for. That's not the type of conclusions they're coming to. They're coming to wacko, crazy person conclusions. So this person, don't know who that is, said, yeah, but there's a difference between the CIA had JFK killed conspiracy theories and the US has a death laser weapon they lit Hawaii on fire with for mysterious NWO reasons. Conspiracies. Is there a difference between those? Wait, what's the difference? What's the difference? Have you heard the conspiracies about Hawaii? No. Sounds pretty similar to like Jewish space lasers and bullcrap like that. Like, it is like this, it's JFK bullcrap, 9/11 bullcrap. Like, it's all the same. It's all conspiracy theorism. I'm a Shoe fan too. There are a lot of very sketchy things the government admits to doing. In the past, there are a lot of crazy conspiracy theories and theorists, but some is legit. Difficult to tell. Yeah, it doesn't help conspiracy theorists whatsoever that sometimes they end up being right because they weren't right. They got the information and they said the same thing, but they weren't right because they didn't come to the conclusion logically. They just came to a conclusion. And they do this 1,000 times over and over and over, and one of those things ends up being right. There's no, you didn't actually reach the goal that you were meaning to reach. Like, you didn't do anything right just because you happened to be right in the end. You claim the government's doing all sorts of crazy crap all the time, and then one of the times they happen to be doing the crazy crap. Doesn't mean anything. For everybody else who's just waiting for the information to make the claim, they end up being right all the time. I don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to come out in the future or not, because I don't make a claim as to whether it's happening or not, one way or the other, until I have evidence of whether or not a thing happened. Things be happening, but some people are saying the truth is being hidden because the day after the fire, Oprah and her film crew weren't allowed in the refugee shelter to film. That is such a small amount of information. I have no idea what you're talking about. You got to be honest. Not all conspiracies are the same level. I don't know. I mean, I think generally once we, like, once we start calling them conspiracy theories, they fall into the group of conspiracy theories because they all share a certain quality. Like, the government has done some real sketch stuff, but not all sketchy things. There's a spectrum. No. Okay, no. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Well, this is literally in the video essay that I'm talking about Shoe0nhead, about Demon Mama, about Vosh, about Xander Hall, about Denims. In that video, one of the things that I said is these people have become such unreliable sources for information and analysis. They are wrong so often. But that doesn't mean that we can just dismiss everything they ever say and say they're automatically wrong because they said it. Because we already know that they're an unreliable source, so we can now make the statement that they are wrong. It does mean that you can say, I don't trust them. I'm not going to believe anything they say, but it does not mean you can say they are wrong. Just as like with the government, they can't do sketchy things, and then now you say, well, now I can just assume they did other sketchy things because they did sketchy things in the past, so now this one specific thing, I can assume this one specific thing is sketchy too. That's not how that works. That doesn't make sense. You have to analyze each individual action by itself. Like, this is like saying, like, you know, black people commit crimes at a pretty high rate. We see the pattern, so I can just see a random black person walking down the street and assume they're a freaking criminal because, I mean, it happens. Like, I've guessed a bunch of times. Every time I saw a black person, I guessed that they were a criminal, and there were a bunch of times I turned out to be right. So might as well just keep guessing that black people are all criminals now. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same logic. It's the same problem. Shut up, Seeking. The point is that, yes, you can't just say, like, this thing keeps happening, so now I can just assume that these random things are that thing without evidence. You still have to have evidence. You still have to be able to prove the point. You still have to be able to come to that conclusion logically. At Tom, when you know a person stole from you 5 people, you should know to be cautious with your things around them. Yes, but that's different than making the claim that they stole things, right? Like, people saying, I'm a little bit more suspicious of the government is one thing, versus the government's all working together and they're all trying to take our stuff. They're making sure that we don't actually have rights, and they do it so that they can all get rich together. Like, this is like the buy-in to be a populist. That's like, you know, number one, like, time to be a populist. That, what I just said, is like, you know, the main thing you gotta believe, and then everything else kind of trickles down from there. So Shoe0nhead responded to the person differentiating JFK conspiracy theories and Hawaii conspiracy theories. She said, this is a straw man. Nobody I've seen talking about this seriously is talking about a space laser. But to answer your question, the difference between the basically proven JFK things and a new conspiracy, anywhere between 2 to 50 years. Wait, is she saying that she actually believes the JFK stuff? Like, she believes in the JFK conspiracy theories, or what? What does that mean? Basically proven JFK thing. What Tom is describing is the #1 worst way to survive a potentially evil government. No, it's not. It's actually the #1 way to survive a potentially evil government. It is. That is the #1 way to survive a potentially evil government. And what you're talking about is the #1 way to ruin a perfectly fine government, because you're going to be so suspicious and so freaked out making up conspiracy theories the entire time that don't actually exist that you'll ruin a good thing. I am talking about the way that you actually do know whether or not it's corrupt, whether or not it's good, whether or not things are going downhill. Like, what I'm talking about is how you do know. What you're talking about is like how we make up facts and connect dots and pretend that things are there that aren't actually there. Like that's the difference between what you and I are talking about. The government seems to work perfectly fine by far the majority of the time, by far from the majority of people. Most people are doing better and better all the time in the United States. It only improves. It only progresses. It only gets better. Yet somehow there's all these, you know, shadowy dark figures in the back trying to make sure that it doesn't happen. Yet it keeps happening. And in the meantime, we're the ones who are voting those people in. We're the ones who choose them. We're the ones who get to decide whether or not they're getting elected in the first place. That's on us. Like, we get to choose who we're electing. And then once we elect them in, we start complaining about them being corrupt and bullcrap. Well, then vote somebody else in, damn it. The government works fine because the government took out the paradigm-shifting JFK keks. I don't know what that means. What are keks or kekus? It's not that simple, Tom. It is that simple. It is that simple. We have checks and balances. It is that simple. We've got a bunch of politician family members, all going through court proceedings right now, getting arrested for illegal things. It is that simple. We have tons of institutions in place to take care of these things already. We already have them. They already exist. Shoe is a troll. Stop taking her seriously. She's not just a troll, though. Like, you understand what the stuff that she's talking about when she's talking about populism. She is being serious in these. She is being serious when she talks about this crap. She's not joking. The connection is set theory, in my opinion. It ends up being the glue to all of the society's holes in logic. I mean, kind of. Like, it is over categorizing and then over pattern or overly recognizing patterns. That is kind of what's happening. Is like people overly see patterns that aren't actually there. But yeah, anyways, so this is weird. Like, I don't know what to do with all that, but so yeah, Destiny quote tweeted this about the JFK conspiracy theory that she thinks is basically proven. He said, there is zero proof of any JFK conspiracy, and people can pretend that the government and our institutions have lied for decades, but the reality is that the vast majority of services coming from them have been great. People just take it for granted, get bored, and shit stir. And that's really what it is. I mean, it really is that, like, we're so privileged that we need something to complain about. We have it so good. We don't have enough to complain about. And so we just need to start making stuff up to complain about. Oh, we're so privileged that we get free vaccines saving us from the virus that's just ravaging through the world and killing everybody. Let's protest it and say that it's like, you know, it's a big corporation, big what are they? What's it called? What is it? The people who make the medicine. The guys who, like, they make all the medicine, they make the vaccines and stuff. It's the big pharma freaking crap. You know, they're all corrupt. They're all trying to get us. Like, it's the same stuff. It's the same freaking crap. We gotta complain about the stuff that's, like, you know, most beneficial to us, because it's not easy having it good. It's not easy living the good life. Now Tom's just trying to trigger me with free forced vaccines. How lucky we are. Did you get forced to get vaccinated? You got forced to get vaccinated? I didn't get forced to get vaccinated. Damn, that's freaking crazy that somebody forced you to get vaccinated. Who did that to you? Who forced you to get vaccinated? Oh my goodness. That's horrible, dude. Some did at risk of their job. Well, lots of jobs already have necessary vaccines. That wasn't a new thing. Like, that wasn't something new. I already have to have vaccines to work the job that I currently have. That wasn't a new thing that, like, all of a sudden, like, this one vaccine is the one thing that you have to have in order to work here. Like, that that was already a pretty common thing to have vaccines. So yeah, going to school is the same. This wasn't a new thing that like you get to go here, and so there are some costs that are associated with engaging with people out in public. You don't have to engage with people out in public. You don't have to live in a society. You can go live out in the woods by yourselves if you can find a place that hasn't already been taken over. But like, you know, the fact that you get all the benefits of society and then don't want to pay any of the costs of it, like that just kind of sucks to suck. But nobody forced anybody to do anything. You can go fuck off. Like, feel free. Nobody cares. Go get on a boat, live in the ocean. Like, but society exists. Nobody else wants to be around your shit. Nobody else wants your nasty COVID breath getting breathed all over them. So, you know, deal with it. That's a pretty dumb take, dude. You can't go live in the ocean, dummy. True. True. Got me. You aren't allowed to go move to the wild. Yeah, no, there's tons of wild where you are allowed to move. 100%. I know many people who live off the grid, who have lived off the grid. It's not easy. You have to separate yourself from society, so it's pretty freaking hard. You're probably gonna try to benefit from society in the meantime and go buy a bunch of lumber and tools and saws and all sorts of other things, because you still can't do things without society. But you can still do that. Still suck at the tit of society, be a leech on society, and then go somewhere else and fuck off and don't get vaccinated. But like, if you're like, I think that people would be happy to pay those who don't want to get vaccinated to go live off of the grid. Like, that's fine. I will give you my own saws and my own lumber, and then you can go live off the grid. I would be happy to do that. But yeah, like saying I want all the benefits, gimme. Oh, I gotta pay a cost for this? No, no siree, not me. Oh, it's like the normal thing that like normal people in society have to get like vaccinated. Whoa, this is a whole new thing. This is brand new. I would give more credence to conspiracy theorists if at least ask good questions, but they consistently follow the dumbest people in social media who are all massively profiting from selling anti-establishment rhetoric with no critical thought. Huh. I think I got a couple of those people in my chat right now. It's crazy. These people deny climate change without knowing what greenhouse gas is. They claim vaccine DNA changing conspiracies without knowing what mRNA even is. I had this conversation with somebody literally yesterday who's saying like, yeah, like mRNA is a brand new thing. Brand freaking new. It's experimental. They don't trust the Holocaust numbers, yet they don't even know how researchers arrived at the numbers they cite. They think the Trump charges are all fake or exaggerated, but they haven't read any of the indictments. We know some of these people. They think politicians are bought and paid for, but they don't know the difference between a PAC and a super PAC. They think we've sent $100 billion in cash to Ukraine. These people aren't asking questions in good faith. They are just repeating same tired, unresearched opinions they've heard from their favorite anti-establishment podcaster. There's zero critical thought or research for any of it beyond CNN said it, so it must not be true. 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 I agree with all of this. This is all based and true. 100% though. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what we just went over. It's mostly about people just being uninformed on these things, or they haven't really thought it through, or they don't actually like understand what it means to, you know, engage in a society, sign a social contract, and then they say they're being forced to get vaccinated because they get to keep their job if they do it, which one is just something that has always existed within society, and two is like a normal exchange for you to be able to work a job. for you to be allowed to be around other people and for you to be allowed to come breathe my freaking air. I said this for years. Destiny, stop stealing my takes. I'm the one who turned them on to you, Z King. I told him, I was like, yo, there's this freaking Z King, dude. You need to go check that dude out. He'll give you the good info. Do you believe the Earth is overpopulated? Not really. Like, it's overly condensed in certain areas, not necessarily overpopulated. If like overpopulated is only in contrast or is only relative to some sort of thing that you're comparing the population to. When it comes to climate change, like, yeah, it seems like population is a detriment. To replied to this and said, agree to disagree. I trust the schizophrenic homeless man shouting obscenities on the corner more than I trust our institutions. That is actually retarded. That is actually retarded. I don't know, like, I'm sure this is just a big, like, virtue signal for her, and she just wants to tell everybody how woke she is, and she wants them all to know that she's one of the good ones and crap like that. But this is a truly retarded take. Our institutions are some of the best, have held up the best, have done amazing things. You know, our checks and balances are all top notch, and we are the greatest country to ever be known by civilization because of our institutions. It is only leeches on society like this who stop us from progressing farther and faster, is that they're always dragging us down. They don't have enough information or enough brain power to understand the complexities of our institutions and what it is that they do. And so this is what we get in return. And I blame the education system. Just kidding. That's a joke. Get it? You guys get it? So Destiny said, "You're lying." Ooh, he called her a liar. Shoe0nhead, you're a liar. You lied. Shoe. Damn, bro. He said she's a liar. I'm losing that follow right there pretty quick today. I'm pretty screwed. That one's just gonna disappear the next time I click on another tweet. It's gonna pop up, and that follows you is gonna be, it's gonna be gone. Yeah, can you, like, some of the people who are just like schizo posting nonstop and just spam posting, can we just ban those people, please? They're getting in the way of smart people posting. But all right, so he said, "You're lying. You trust dozens of institutions every time you swipe a credit card. You're trusting computer chip manufacturers, ISPs, electronic companies, international banking systems, currencies, and government every time you make a purchase." True. That's true. That's actually true. That's true. You're trusting hundreds of different companies just to tweet. You trust encryption algorithms to log into a computer and send private messages from one person to another. You trust your browsers, your websites, your operating systems, and your hardware. That's true. That is true. She do that. You trust the food you eat not to poison you from restaurants whose workers you've never met, who order food from companies you've never heard of, and you trust the car you drive not to spontaneously explode when you turn the key. The only institutions you don't trust are the ones you can make the most money criticizing. If you believe the man on the street more than the man in the office, prove it and go live in the forest off the grid. Until then, all you're doing is collecting paychecks for outrage. Yeah, like people who actually don't trust the institutions, they don't trust the government, they don't trust any of these things, they would have to live off the grid. You are, like, the people who actually believe the bullshit y'all pretend to believe are not watching a live stream right now. They're not watching a live stream. Those people are off the grid. They don't get on the internet. The stuff that y'all virtue signal and pretend to believe because you're bored as hell, they're not here. They're not watching this. There are some models of some cars that I don't trust. I don't drive them. I don't drive those cars. There are some people I don't trust for information. I don't get information from those people. But those who don't trust our institutions, they still use them all the freaking time. They're always using them. They use them all the time. They don't trust them, yet they're using them and sucking on them and just pulling out as much as they can every single day, driving on our freaking roads, walking around our vaccinated people, eating food and taking medication approved by the FDA that are, you know, the local food agencies, what are they called? I don't know. Whoever gives them their health scores are going in and making sure that all of these restaurants and all of these grocery stores are actually up to code and that they have, you know, food safety up to snuff, like FDA. No. FDA is not local. That's federal. FDA does not do the local stuff. Yo, I'm not vaxxed. I'm smart enough to understand I didn't need to be. Yeah, because everybody else around you got vaxxed. You're smart enough to know that like 97% of everybody else got vaxxed, and so the 3% of people, you know, a couple old grandmas, some people stuck in wheelchairs, and then the conspiracy theorists didn't have to get vaccinated. Sure. Unless you live in the ocean, then you trust the government. Yes. Not the government, the institutions. We're talking about the institutions. The government is just part of the institutions. Yes. Like, the government is what makes it to where you can do all of these things. And the institutions are the ones who hold the government accountable to make sure that the government makes sure that you can do all of these things. Yes. 100%. You don't have, it's not just the ocean. There's tons of places off the grid, but you can go live in the ocean. I've seen tons of other conspiracy theories about Atlantis existing. You can go find it. You can go find Atlantis and live there with them off the grid. Yeah, it's not just the ocean, guys. You're okay. Yeah, BLM trusts the cops. True. True. Aquaman's a cool dude, yeah. Yep, but then you're going to have to trust the institutions that are within Atlantis. So, I don't know. Seems like one way or the other, you're going to have to trust other people, because in order to be a human, that's just kind of innate to us. And you're only pretending not to trust humans. But the real ones, we know who they are. Actually, we don't know who they are. We don't know who they are on purpose. Yeah, because they're not around us. Shu said, yes, if you're skeptical of our government, that means you also have to not trust food and cars. What? LMFAO. No. Yeah. No. No. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? Just, whoo. You guys see that? That's what we call a pivot. Saying skeptical versus I don't trust them. These are different things. Yeah, these are very different things. I'm skeptical of the government. Yeah, sure. I am very skeptical of the government. I'm skeptical of the institutions. The institutions are all built on being skeptical. All of them. It is necessary for people to be skeptics, to, you know, always be looking for something to go wrong. Sure. Duh. But that's not the same thing as I don't trust them. That is a massive pivot into the next dimension. Not the same thing. Everybody's freaking skeptical. That's normal. That is part of the institution. Like that is why democracy exists, is because we are meant to be skeptics. That's the whole point. Hey, there's Abaddon. Go off, Destiny! This damn youth need to educate themselves before running their mouths. Ooh. There's Wick. Our institutions have demonstrated they are trustworthy, especially in this day and age. However, they are not beyond question, and we need to acknowledge when they have lied or fucked up. But yeah, never trusting institutions is just as dumb as always trusting institutions. Oh no, what is Brittany Venti's retarded ass about to say? Alt media, cryptocurrency, holistic medicine, and cooking at home have gained/regained popularity because we live in a low trust society in America. Knows because of retards on the internet pushing pseudoscience and bullcrap. I don't trust restaurants. I have a corn allergy. And they mess up a lot, rolling the dice every time. Sure, that's not, there are no institutions making sure they don't put corn in your meal. That's not the same thing, Brittany. That's not the same thing. The governmental institutions are not there watching every single meal that they make to make sure that they're not accidentally putting corn in your food, or, you know, violating some sort of allergy. This has nothing to do with institutions, but go off, sis. You got this. And by the way, most of the time, they can't even tell me if the food has corn or not because they don't know what is in the food they are cooking. This isn't the same thing, Brittany. This isn't the same thing. They are serving you food where they literally do not know the ingredients. This isn't the same thing, Brittany. That's not what we're talking about. That's not what anybody's talking about. This has to be a troll. Is she trolling? Didn't Destiny mention restaurants or something? Yes, because I mentioned earlier that we have governmental agencies that go and give them food safety scores and crap like that. They're getting health scores, all that sort of stuff. Those are totally different from the restaurant itself knowing what's in the food and messing up a certain type of meal. These are very different things. So yeah, I can't tell if this is a joke or not. This has nothing to do with the institutions or governmental agencies. This is insanely different. Emrod the Greatest said, also systems can work the vast majority of the time and still warrant distrust. The margin of acceptance versus unacceptable error is incredibly narrow. So the reason, for those of you who are sitting in the chat coping super hard right now, that we're differentiating between being skeptical and distrust, is because the statements earlier were saying that you can just assume the government did something wrong. Okay? That is not being skeptical. Okay? That is very, very different from being skeptical. That's not even on the spectrum of being a skeptic. Because if you're a skeptic, you're actually using logic and data, information, like crap like that. Being skeptical includes rationale. What she's doing, this is not rationale. This is not being a skeptic. These are very, very different things. And so you can't start coping about like, oh no, just pretending a thing that never happened actually happened is still the same thing as being skeptical, Tom. You know what she means. You know what she means. Don't pretend you don't know what she means. I do know what she means. She's backing off the initial claim because once he lists a whole lot of institutions that she trusts in, she immediately changes her language from I would trust the homeless guy on the corner before I would trust a governmental institution to, well, why can't I just be skeptical, huh? Why can't I be skeptical? What's wrong with being a little skeptical? What's wrong with some skepticism, huh? It's very different. Destiny responded to this. He said, what do you think our government does? What is the FDA? What are emission standards? What are safety regulations? You're critical of our institutions, and then you jokingly refer to trusting the government about two of the most institutionally regulated things in society. The same FDA that regulates our food regulates our vaccines. We look to the EPA for emissions and climate change. Again, you trust institutions fully when it's convenient and criticize them when it's popular to do so. True. This is true. Yes, this is actually, I would say this is true. Yeah. Yeah, such bad faith here. That is Cope Tuesday. You guys are just coping. You are coping so hard. I enjoy it though. I am happy to allow y'all to come cope freely. This is a place where I am happy to allow people to make me look good. I'm not going to stop you. No. You're making me look too good. I don't like looking this smart. Stop it. It's not going to happen. You can make me look smart away. I'm here for it. So Shoe said, you question the people in charge and you eat FDA regulated food. Curious. So yeah, she didn't, again, now it's, oh, you just question them. It's proven that so what was it? I keep wanting to say FDR, but that's the wrong president. JFK. That the JFK conspiracy theories, those are proven. We can just assume that the government's just lying about things because the JFK stuff is proven already. But now it's, oh, well, we can't question things. We're not allowed to question stuff. See, I played basketball. I know a pivot when I see one. There is so much evidence to distrust our country. So again, this is bad logic. You can't say there's evidence to distrust our government. Like, that just doesn't work. Our government is not a single thing. It's not a single person. Like, this government agent lied, so I distrust all of them now. Or there's enough of them that have lied that I distrust you too. That's not how that works. It's not how that works. That doesn't make sense. It's like you're talking about individual people doing individual jobs. So one of them lies, or let's say 99 out of 100 of them lie. That doesn't mean the other one is also lying too, or that it makes sense to distrust them just because we consider them part of the government. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. That's insane to think that way. This is like saying, hey, look. The guys on the football team, there were 100 of them. 99 of them ran slowly. So we can assume the 100th guy is also slow. We can assume he's also a slow person because the other 99 were slow. You can distrust a government entity, Tom. You cannot distrust the government as an entity. No, you cannot. That doesn't make sense. That's not a thing. The government is not an entity. That doesn't make sense. Yes, it makes sense to distrust them if 99% of their organization lies. Oh my God. No, it does not. That's retarded. That's freaking retarded. No, it does not. They are not all one thing. That does not make sense. You are saying, okay, 99% of the football players were slow, so I can assume the last player was slow. You're saying, well, enough black people commit crimes that I can assume that black person also commits crimes. This is the same logic. You're talking about individuals. Those individuals have nothing to do with this individual. What they did before has nothing to do with this person's doing now. Those are all separate things. They are very, very different. That is insanely illogical. That does not make sense. That is not how this works. You have a very corrupt organization and not trust it because it has an insanely bad track record. But it doesn't. It has an insanely good track record, first off. Secondly, it's not just an organization. These people are not all working together. They're not all in business meetings all day deciding what they're going to do. They're not all like hanging out and making plans with one another. That's not how this works. That's not how the government works, okay? They are all separate individuals doing separate things. That's how it's built. That's what checks and balances are. This is how it's all organized. This is like, it doesn't make sense to act like, oh, the president lied yesterday, so my mayor is also a liar. Like, this doesn't make sense. They are not a thing. Your mayor has nothing to do with the president. The president has nothing to do with the people in Congress. The people in Congress have nothing to do with the people in the Pentagon. The people in the Pentagon have nothing to do with, like, the FDA. Like, these are all separate things. They're all completely separate, and they are run by separate individuals doing separate things. They have nothing to do with one another. And just because you distrust one of those people out of the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, it doesn't mean anything for the other ones. It means literally nothing. That is illogical. That is not how logic works. Man, I love you, Tom, but you're completely delusional sometimes. You do not. I can't argue with people who just like totally dismiss logic. Just say logic gone.
Rude and you crab super chatted $3.23. If 99% of strawberries were poisonous, Tom would still eat strawberries.
We're not talking about strawberries. No, we're not talking about strawberries. First off, secondly, we're talking like it doesn't mean that the last one is poisonous. That is a different claim to say the last one is poisonous versus whether or not I would eat the strawberry. These are totally different claims. Totally different, not the same thing. No, you should. Yeah, the FDA and the NHI are not the same. Is this the retard logic we're on right now? Wait, who said that? This is a bad argument. We are gaslit into believing that if we don't vote, we shouldn't have a say. And yet, when we vote, we still get our money debased. We get laws we don't want. So yeah, no trust. Well, fuck off. Peace, bitch. Swim down to the bottom of the ocean and stay there as long as possible. I heard it's dope down there. I heard it's super bass down there, and they got a whole lot for you there. You're going to really enjoy it. No more humans, no more other people that you got to deal with. Stay down there as long as possible, and it'll be great. You're going to love it. Nice cope? It's not cope. It's not cope. You guys don't know how to engage in a society. You have been online for too long. You have sat with a bunch of other crazy people in chat rooms on the internet for too long. You've not engaged in the real world with real humans who understand how society runs. This is not a cope. This is me giving you a little pat on the back saying, it's okay, little buddy. You'll get it next time. And you can come on. If you want to hop on and talk about these things, I'm happy to have the conversation with you. I am happy to have the conversation with anybody who wants to hop on. I'm here for it. Voting does nothing. Again, fuck off then. Don't vote. Nobody wants you to vote. I don't care if you vote. Nobody cares. Voting does nothing. You're right. Don't vote. Go to the bottom of the ocean and stay there. There's no voting there. Like the last people in the world who, yes, the last people in the world who can vote or who can complain are the people who don't vote. So, yeah, fuck off then. Peace. So yeah, Destiny said, do you think on balance the government is more truthful or less truthful when you consider everything they are involved in? She said, I think you're being hyper anal about my homeless guy joke. Oh my goodness. Now it's a joke. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. I mean, Uru said just a minute ago that that they're truthful or untruthful so much that you can just assume that they're being untruthful the other times. So it would have to be by far the majority of the time in order for that to be the case. I would assume, like based on the broken logic in the first place. That's not how it works anywhere, but based on the broken logic, I would at least give you guys enough credit to assume you're at least talking about the majority of the time, not like, you know, the 0.001% percentage of the time that it would be in like reality. Again, guys, hop in VC. I'm here for it. I'm sure you guys actually have some arguments. I'm sure you guys have real arguments and that you're not just a bunch of trolls. So I'm here for it. Jump in VC. Let's go. Hey, stop spamming. So yeah, she said you're being anal about the homeless guy joke. I'm a socialist / sock them, not against government doing things. I'm against them doing bad things. 3-letter agencies have a history of doing bad things. That doesn't mean that literally she's saying nothing. She's saying nothing right now. 3-letter agencies have a history of doing bad things. This means literally nothing. She's saying absolutely nothing here. I'm against them doing bad things. 3-letter agencies have a history of doing bad things. Nothing hypocritical about distrusting those in charge and also living in a society. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Because you are still trusting them. They are still keeping you safe. They are still making sure that you're able to do all of this freaking shit at the same time. You are, it is hypocritical. You just you won't admit that because your entire life starts to become a lie if you do. Why is that nothing? Because one, it's saying they have a history of doing bad things, okay? We found 5 bad things over the last 200 years. They've got a history of doing bad things. They've got a history of doing it, man. I got a whole 5 things that they did. Whoa, look at that history there. Like it's a meaningless statement. She's not saying anything. She's just saying they have a history of doing bad things. It doesn't mean anything. So Tom, you believe the aliens are real then? I have not seen a single institution say that the aliens are real. Have you seen an institution say that the aliens are real? Because if you did, I'm pretty sure you also saw aliens. Can you describe a personal line for yourself for you to become cynical about an agency? Say the CIA. Can you paint a hypothetical? For an agency, like an entire, no. No, I don't think that's possible. That's kind of the point, is that it's like, it is impossible. It's kind of impossible for these things to happen. So stop deflecting. That is a direct answer. No, there is not a line. It can't happen. There are checks and balances here already to make sure that these things don't go too corrupt, or that if there are corruptions that we find out about them, that they're investigated, that people are ousted. Like, we already have the processes in place. So he would need to see every individual agency member being dishonest. Damn. You right, guys. I'm strawmanning you. I'm the one who doesn't understand. True. I'm the one. It's me. No organization is perfect. Do they ever make corrections? Do they ever improve? If you can show these things, then maybe you have a case. Yeah, so like, you could make a case that, like, so somebody at the top is being corrupt, right? They're doing something shady at the top. And so from the top down, the corruption is starting to become systemic within the organization, right? That's like, that is a possibility, but we have processes to where somebody's going to snitch. Somebody's going to tell on them. Somebody's going to say something, which is why we continuously find out about like crap that happens when these agencies do messed up stuff. Tomfoolery Show. Once we proved that for 100 years, every decade, the CIA was responsible for 1 million deaths of children, even then your trust would remain. It depends. I don't know what that means anything. Just in and of itself, they're responsible for deaths of children. Yeah, that
Clark
doesn't
W
mean
tipped
anything.
$4.20. Tom, if you want something that sounds like a conspiracy theory but is scientifically proven, check Discord DMs.
Okay. Evidence for large planetary climate altering thermonuclear explosions? I don't think that doesn't sound like a conspiracy theory. Why would that be a conspiracy theory? Where would the conspiracy even be? But thank you, Clark, for the 420. Oh, yeah, I already read that one. Yeah, like, just saying that they're responsible for kids' deaths does not mean enough for me to say that there's, like, a problem with the agency. That would not be enough information for me to go off of. Tom, engage with the hypotheticals. You realize I engaged with that one, right? You asked me a question. I said no. Like, I am engaging with it, and then I'm explaining why my answer is no afterwards. Let's say they were organ harvesting consistently. Crap, I lost it. Consistently for 100 years, still no budging on the trust. Again, that's just not enough information. You're saying, okay, so this one group of agents within the CIA, they started harvesting organs, and then what? Like, those 5 guys in the CIA harvested organs, and over 100 years, there continuously were 5 guys harvesting organs that never got found out. Did people report it? What happened to the reports? Did they get swept under a rug? Were people protecting them? Was there, were they just never found? If they weren't found out, why weren't they found out? Were people protecting them again? Like, there's always like a million other questions that would come first. And even when you answer those questions, it would almost be impossible to blame the organization for doing that thing. Okay, paint me the missing information you would require. Yeah, so that's just some of the information. Then on top of that, who was in charge? What were they doing? Why? Let's say all the CIA was doing that. Okay, then I would say you have to get rid of the leader in the CIA and then find new agents. The organization isn't a problem. It's the people who were doing it that were the problem. And so, yeah, if there's some sort of top-down corruption there, then yeah, you get rid of the top and the down, put new people in place. So it's a new thing. It's people who would be the problem there, not the CIA. When we put all new people there, we can't assume they're still harvesting organs just because the people who were there before them did it, when we replace the people who were doing it, right? It's not an organizational problem. It's not the CIA that's doing it. I'd love to stick around and debate, but I have to go to bed. Enjoy some strawberries. These are organic and corruption-free. Let's go, dude. The Nazis weren't an organizational problem. It was all top-down command from Hitler. We, in the United States, cannot have a thing like Hitler. Did you know that? We literally can't. Like, it is impossible for Hitler to happen here because we have institutions in place that make it to where that can't happen. So I know you're being hyperbolic, but I'm saying that like something like that can't happen here. It's like impossible because that's what they want you to think. Yes. But yeah, like we have institutions in place that take care of this sort of stuff. So yeah, she said 3-letter agencies have a history of doing bad things. Nothing hypocritical about distrusting these in charge or those in charge and also living in a society. Destiny said, which 3-letter agencies? The FDA. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, so wait, like the EPA, the FDA, like, are those the 3-letter agencies we're worried about here? BLM from Stardust, Bureau of Land Management. Nice. Ben Shapiro's bicep. God, this reminded me of White Lotus. I think that's crap. What's his name? I can't remember his name. So Eudaimonia, this is Shoe0nhead's boyfriend. He's a valued member of the community. He said, I don't see how this supports your previous point or contradicts hers, really. These administrations you discuss here are, of course, institutions, and we should be skeptical of them. That's, again, very different. That is very, very different. Saying we should be skeptical of them versus we should just assume they're doing bad things or we should totally distrust them. These are totally different. I'm skeptical of literally everybody, while I also have trust in some people at the same time. Like, I trust that they're going to tell me the truth. I trust that they're going to do the right thing. I trust all sorts of things, but it doesn't mean that there's no like skepticism involved whatsoever. Because yeah, when we're saying skeptical, we're generally just saying that you have like reservations about the thing, right? You have some sort of reservations, but it doesn't mean that there's no trust involved whatsoever. It's not like a binary where either you have trust or you're skeptical. You can have both. These are like completely separate. What do you call it? These are completely separate spectrums in the first place. Mokwashu. Okay. Yeah, I give up. They keep moving back into the waiting room, so I give up. So yeah, these administrations you discuss here are, of course, institutions, and we should be skeptical of them. That's why there's a notice and comment period when new regulations are promulgated. It's okay, it's good. It's okay, it's good to question these institutions and the motivations of those who work for them. That's totally different. That is so different, dude. That is so different. Your previous example largely dealt with individual actors, the cook who might spit in your food, or the delivery driver who might break into your house if he sees you're alone. Are these analogous to the FDA? No, those are different. That's the point. Those are different. Those are not governmental institutions. This is...
Clark W. tipped $4.20. Tom forced myself and my co-workers to get the jab while he was our manager at Comet Pizza. Half of us have died suddenly.
At Comet Pizza? Well done. This is just like, this is part of the issue. It seems like every time people argue about the institutions, they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't even know what an institution is. They don't know what they're talking about. It's every freaking time. Every time. This is what Destiny was saying, that like every single time they have these arguments and they have these conversations, it's always that they're just uninformed on what it is that they're talking about. They don't even look for the information. They just saw Tim Pool tweet something out and they're like, oh, true. Yes, that. Further, It's a prudential judgment on what/who you trust. We operate on Earth, in the real world, and most of us are tethered to work, cities, communities. We can't just go live in the woods. So we have to trust, to some extent, these institutions, or at least tolerate the fact that they control us. I just don't see how your reply actually addresses hers. There's no shot that you don't see that, dude. It's good to question these institutions and the motivations of those who work for them. Yes, with the common sense understanding that 99% of the time, they are not going to be evil. Taking their advice not to consume E. coli will be good. Pharmacologically works, etc. He said, I don't think they are evil. I do think that as any institution grows in size and influence, they will come to take action that justify and perpetuate their own existence. That's...
Pepe Lag super chatted $19.99. Common Shoe W Destiny was interacting with her as if she were a libertarian/conservative who flat out hates the government completely. She's just skeptical of the country's motives and agendas. Like most lefties.
When people distrust their leaders after decades of being gaslit and lied to, you get conspiracy theorists. I don't know how someone can look at our country and come to the conclusion that was all in the past and we don't do shit like that anymore. It's literally just pattern recognition. And then she justified the JFK thing. Then right after, I don't see the other one. Maybe I went off of it. But then, yeah, she also talked about trusting a homeless person over the government. Like, these are all like engagements with what it is she's saying. She's just slowly backing off to, well, we can just be skeptical, when initially it's, let's not trust them. We don't trust them. It went from, we don't trust them and we shouldn't trust them because they lied to us, to, well, why can't we just be skeptical? Why not? We're not allowed to be skeptical? These are very, very, very different things. What she started off with and what she ended up with, these are totally different claims. And that's fine if she wants to turn around and say, hey, yeah, I was just being hyperbolic. But it is what I was saying at the beginning. She's just virtue signaling for a bunch of other populists. She's just virtue signaling, trying to say, hey, look how much I hate the big guys. Look how much I hate the big guys, right? And if she just said that, yeah, it was just a virtue signal. I was just virtue signaling. I was just saying I hate the big guys and, you know, punching up and all of that dumb bull crap, then, like, I'm sure everybody would be like, okay, this is a nothing burger then, whatever. But it was pretending to defend this claim while moving to this claim. Skeptical implies a degree of mistrust. If you are trustful, you're not skeptical. Therefore, I disagree that they are completely different things. Yeah, I totally disagree with that. That is just untrue on so many levels. If you go look up the word trust, it will have nothing to do with not being skeptical. And if you go look up the word skeptical, it'll have nothing to do with not trusting. These are totally separate things. They are on completely separate damn it, I keep forgetting this word. Spectrums, like, it's not like you're moving down the line. You got trust here, and as you get less trustful, you eventually get to skeptical. No, you can be skeptical while you are also trusting at the same time. Because you can be skeptical while completely distrusting. Like, you can be skeptical along the entire spectrum. Trust and skepticism aren't totally separate. This is a bad argument. Okay. I actually think you're brain dead. I actually think you're retarded. Dude, you're tripping. Most of the time, people are skeptical of people they do not trust, not people they trust. I'm skeptical of everybody, and I have tons of people that I trust. I think anybody that is logical or trusts in logic in any normal way, like normal people, they all are skeptical and trust at the same time. Both of those things exist for most people the majority of the time. Just calling someone retarded because you suck at explaining. Yeah, that's what it is. I've explained in detail, so I can't... What context are you using these words then? Because you just keep disagreeing with every... What do you mean, what context? In the context of trusting the government versus being skeptical of the government. What other context would we possibly be talking about? What do you mean, what context? What the hell? What do you mean, what context? We're talking about trusting institutions in the government. What do you mean, what context? Here, I can get definitions for you guys, okay? Twust. Since this is how you pronounce it, a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something relations have built on trust. In a range whereby believing in the reliability, truth, ability of strength. So this is what Shoe is saying she has for the institutions. She's saying, yeah, sure. Like, I understand that they're reliable. I understand that they're reliable, and I'm willing to believe that when I send a text message, that text message is going to go through. I'm willing to believe that when I call the cops are going to show up. I'm willing to believe that when I, when I go eat at the restaurant, that it's not going to have poison or E. coli in it, right? That is trust. Now, being skeptical of it means we put those institutions in place in the first place. That is still being skeptical, right? We're going to go get the FDA and we're going to get them to actually check all of these foods. We're going to get them to check all of these drugs. We're going to get them to try to make sure that they're safe. But that's just part of the process for us trusting them. Who is we? Society. We is society. Who do you think? What do you mean, who is we? Society. Who's society? What? Wait, what? Tom, how many drugs do you think we have on the market merely profit for which superior natural alternatives exist? I don't know. I don't know that that matters. We don't all have the same desires, dude. There is no we. Yeah, that's why we have democracy, fool. Well done. You're starting to understand. We can go through the whole process if you'd like. We can go through all of it if that's what you want. Sass, I see it. Thank you. We can start with, cavemen and work our way up.
Clark W. tipped $3.33. At Comet Pizza we had a window in the roof with oven below it. To cook the pies a beam of light came through the window. You can cook a pizza in seconds. When Tom got back from his break he'd come out of the basement with child's blood around his mouth.
Democracy, LMAO, oh man, this is getting wild. All right, man, just watch. Yes, truly, like, this is what I'm saying. If you don't even believe in democracy, truly, fuck off. Like, go. There's an awesome society. It's down at the bottom of the ocean. For real. It is so great. There's no institutions. There's no CIA. There's no vaccines down there. Just get to the bottom. It'll be awesome. It'll be so good. Go right away. Yes, Atlantis Party. It is going to be so dope. You're going to freaking love it. Not, I believe in voting, but our institutions are broken. That's the entire point. No, the entire point is that they aren't broken. That's the entire point. That y'all have literally no evidence that they're broken. You have zero evidence. Everything that you think is evidence is not evidence. Everything that you think is evidence is a delusion. Everything that you think is evidence is totally illogical and has run you into a delusional world where make-believe aliens and dragons are all running around. And they will not be at the bottom of the ocean. Tomfoolery Show, is the rapture from BioShock down there? Yes. I don't know what that is, but how would that not matter when safer, cheaper alternatives exist with far less side effects and profitable drugs rife with side effects are pushed instead? The one, there's profit motives involved. Two, there's processes for actually making the drugs. Three, there's the ability to get those drugs in a safe and easy manner. Four, there's like, you already have a ton of processes set up for this specific thing. And so then to try to turn everything over to that one instead, like there's a million other questions that are involved besides just like, is there this thing that we could do? Yeah, and would it be as effective? Would it be as safe? Would it be as easy to transfer? Like there's so, like, I can't go down the list of like all of the other things that would matter besides just like, does the thing exist in some shape or form? Dude, the outcomes I don't like aren't from people voting. It's because the people we vote for don't give us what we vote them in for. Yeah, that's just not true. The data says you're wrong, but that's fine. So yeah, Eudaimonia said that he doesn't think that they're evil. I do think, let's see, I don't think they're evil. I do think that as any institution grows in size and influence, they will come to take action that justify and perpetuate their own existence. That's not always a bad thing, but we should be mindful of this and consider how it colors their actions. This person said, absolutely true, but the paradigm of which we view this is miles removed from where the question of do we trust the FDA/CDC or the schizophrenic homeless man becomes a serious point to contemplate. The former is not only generally trustworthy, but crucially well-informed too. The FDA and every comparable institution in every other developed country knowingly approved a medical treatment that will harm everyone who takes it, which is mostly going to be people who trust the institutions. Sounds bizarre, but shockingly, many people really believe this. Yeah, I mean, they're talking about the vaccine there. Like, this is a real thing. And when people push and perpetuate these sorts of distrust and conspiracy theories without any real facts or data or information to back them up, and all of the facts and all of the data actually say that they're completely wrong, it is harmful and idiotic and obnoxious. Shoe said, right, he's attacking me as if I'm a libertarian against government in general. Also, literally doing this meme. Yeah, that's not the same thing. That is not the same thing, and you know it. We should improve society somewhat is literally what he's saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what everybody's saying. And nobody is saying society is perfect the way it is. Literally nobody. I have never met that person. I don't believe they exist. There is not a single person out there who's saying everything is perfect. This is a dream world. We should never try to make anything better ever. This is exactly the way that I want everything to be. Nobody's saying that. Everybody says we should improve society. This is literally everybody. This is not Shoe0nhead. What Shoe0nhead is saying is the government lies and says all sorts of other crazy crap. And so, colludes and works together to harm us and only to, you know, fill their own pockets. That's what this one should say. And then him saying, yet you participate in society. Curious. Yes, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, true. That's freaking true. Why the hell would you engage in society when you trust a homeless man more than you trust society? So Aristophanes said, you do realize you can hate and distrust the government because the people in it are ideologically compromised and malevolent, while not hating or distrusting the concept of government in practical terms, right? Wait, but they do. She was talking about in practical terms. What? I am so long. Oh, okay, wait, maybe. Well, I'm totally confused here. Hold on. At Shoe0nhead said she didn't trust our institutions, not all institutions. Institutions are meant to be utility focused towards accomplishing a goal or a mission. Destiny didn't name all institutions. He named our institutions. The ones that he was naming are our institutions. How do they think that's any sort of separation from the conversation that was just happening? Destiny only named our institutions. Institutions are meant to be utility focused towards accomplishing a goal or a mission. Staff them with malicious people and a bunch of mission creep, and you got corruption like today. Yeah, again, there's no evidence of this corruption. There's no evidence of this happening. It is a whole lot of cope. It is just people who want there to be corruption, and so this is what they go with. You hate your corrupt, dysfunctional society. The corrupt, dysfunctional society doesn't exist. This is the whole point in what Destiny was just going over, is that it is functional, you freaking idiot. This is what they do. This is what they do. They strawman the hell out of this, and then they go back to saying that it's corrupt and dysfunctional. You cannot trust a freaking corrupt and dysfunctional institution. You idiot. You are doing the thing. You are doing exactly what it is that everybody says you're doing. And then pretending, well, I'm not doing that. Me? Oh, look at what they're saying we're saying. They said that we said this thing that we're definitely not saying, but also, we are saying it. We are definitely saying the thing. Well done. Peak sophistry. Bro, y'all are the ones acting like Azen is working for, I don't know who Azen is working for BlackRock and using the Kyokas. I don't know. This is all Hawaiian stuff. I don't know anything about it. I know nothing about it. Yeah, like the institutions that Destiny was talking about were our institutions. He was talking about the FDA. He was talking about emissions. He was talking about, or sorry, not emissions. He was talking about the EPA. He was talking about a bunch of different institutions that are our institutions, that are American institutions. I don't know if she still lives in Canada. I know she did for a little bit. Maybe Canada's institutions are falling apart. You know, they unfortunately don't have a two-party system, so it is likely that that shit is falling apart. It's burning down. It's rough over there, dude. It is rough. No, we're good? Okay. You guys got a two-party system back? Based, dude. Based.
Clark W. tipped $3.33. Why does the right thing Democrats are communists? I feel like that's another conservative conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory. This is just like incorrect pattern recognition. I mean, it's similar to the way that people come up with conspiracy theories, and they probably have conspiracy theories built on socialism and communism and crap like that. Like, you know, this is one of the things that they do is, you know, they're all working together, and they hate the citizens, and they want us all to starve and die, so they're trying to make us communists, so that because all the communist countries always have all the power and the money rise to the top, and it's just going to make them richer and greater, and Like, there's tons of conspiracy theories that are surrounding those sorts of statements, but to say Democrats are communists in and of itself is not a conspiracy theory in and of itself. President, jail. Yeah, no corruption anywhere. Wait, no, that like you're proving that there's no corruption. Yes. You realize you're proving that there's not corruption in the institutions. Again, you're talking about a person, not an institution. That person is being held accountable by the institutions. Yes, you are proving the point. Trump, after he was president for 4 years, are you kidding? He was impeached twice. He's the only president to ever get impeached twice. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He was impeached twice. Not over any financial dealings yet. Wait, what does that have to do with what you just said? First off, the Ukraine thing was a financial dealing. Like, him using government aid to Ukraine as leverage to get them to dig into his political opponents and come up with dirt. That is similar to a financial dealing in some way, but whatever. The point is that our institutions are the things that we're talking about. We're not saying there's not a person who isn't corrupt anywhere. We're saying there are corrupt people. Our institutions snuff them out. Our institutions get them, and our institutions hold them accountable. That's just mostly, I think, what we are thinking of, like corrupt people doing abusive things within the system. Right. Nobody's disagreeing with that, though. Literally nobody would disagree that corrupt people exist. Nobody disagrees that there are some corrupt people that exist. But I gave numerous examples of, like, when people were talking about the CIA, where I gave examples of, like, the people in the CIA are doing the corrupt things. We just replace the corrupt people. But the CIA is not corrupt, because we just replaced them, and now the CIA is fine. Tomfoolery Show. Tom, if scientists were able to determine that blueberries kill all cancers in 2 months, do you think our medical institutions would tell us to just go home and eat blueberries, or try to sell us an expensive synthetic analog? Hold on.
Pepe Lag super chatted $19.99. Destiny shouldn't have jumped to the grift to accusation tbh. Nothing proves Shoe says or does anything for a grift. Can't think of a more consistent, to a fault, person. Stubborn in her anti-SJW populism for years.
Yeah, I don't think she's a grifter. I didn't see Destiny say that, but yeah, if he said that, that's stupid. There's no evidence that I've seen that she's a grifter, and I feel like he knows enough populists to know that populists exist. It seems like our government is especially vulnerable to these types of people. It is especially vulnerable for them to get, like, into some sort of position. Yes, because we're voting, right? So anybody can just go up there and get elected. Hopefully, people are trying to be, hopefully they scrutinize the people that they're looking at and that they're voting for before they decide whether or not to put them in office. But once they put them in office, then it's on the institutions, the checks and balances, to hold them accountable. And no, sorry, Lauren, you suck. Anyways, for the blueberry thing. Okay. So scientific papers are published all the time. What scientific findings find, it gets published. We can all read them. We can all see them. There's immediately, like, Good Morning America and 2020 and all of these news organizations that started like talking about whether or not coffee is healthy for you every single day, and going back and forth on whether or not it's healthy this day versus whether or not it was healthy yesterday. And there's always new information coming out from science that is like moving us back and forth on all sorts of things and trying to find the truth. So yeah, I think science is not like a thing that is working against us or trying to hold information in some sort of private area where we can't see it. Science is not an institution that works for the government, science, or for big pharma, or for anybody. Science is mostly, like most of our medical findings are done through governmental aid and through our universities. And this stuff is public information. You can see most of our big pharma findings. You can go read them. They're normally found through universities. Like it's the is it R&D? It like, so lots of companies put money into R&D, and that's good. And we want them putting a lot of money into R&D. But most of the D and the R is done in universities, public universities, where we're getting all of the research and finding out most of the information, and we can go and look at it and see it. And so there's nobody who can hold that information from us. It's out there. Vulnerable. How do people not realize the government is a mirror of the society it serves? If we're dissatisfied about leaders we elect, then it's on us to support better leaders. Shitty leaders equals shitty US. Right. Which, like, when we talk about being vulnerable, of course, like, somebody like Donald Trump can just come in and say all the right things and do literally nothing while he's in office, right? That's obviously a thing that happened. He wasn't able to get anything done. He wasn't able to do the things that he promised. He wasn't able to drain the swamp. All he did was make the swamp muddier. He got impeached twice. He continuously disregarded our institutions and broke tons of laws and had all sorts of problems. But meanwhile, all of the other politicians were still doing their jobs. They were all still doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were all still working for their people because they all needed to get elected again. They all actually cared about getting elected again. Trump did not, and he lost the next election. But the rest of the politicians, they were doing their best to make sure that when election time came back up, they were going to come back and they were going to be able to get back in. Abortion rights. Yes, there's one thing that Trump did well. There's one thing that he will get a lot of credit for, and that is getting the Supreme Court judges in. That was huge.
Loren Thibodeau super chatted $2. Angela is mine. You can have Lauren Fuentes. Thumbs up.
Lauren Fuentes. Lauren De Laguna. We all know you're listening. Don't let her say that to you. Don't let this fake Lauren talk to you like that. Get her. But he built the wall. He did not build the wall, really. Like, not what he was saying he was going to build. Tomfoolery Show. So final thought on the matter. You're confident that our medical institutions are adequately safeguarded against profiteering. So I'm not exactly sure what it is that you mean when you say they're safeguarded against profiteering. Like, these are like subjective matters to whether or not one person thinks something is fair versus another, right? There are big pharma institutions that are held accountable pretty often. We all hear about the stuff with painkillers often enough, like the J&J virus or vaccine was held up, and they had to make a lot of changes with that. There's like recalls on drugs. There's all sorts of things that make sure that if they are super corrupt with the crap they're doing, or they're being laissez-faire, if they're being laxed on the way that they're regulating their crap, like somebody will figure it out. As far as like the way that they price things and the way that they work with insurance companies, that is like a whole different matter, to where there's not my mouse pad is wet. Oh, I put this on it. Okay. Yeah, that's a different matter, to where like this is why people are trying to get free healthcare, because the gap between like what people can pay versus how much medicine costs, these are massively different. When you take into consideration the fact that like the United States ends up supplying drugs to tons of other countries for much cheaper because we pay more for them, and that tons of other countries benefit greatly from the fact that the United States is doing super well and our big pharma institutions are doing super well, to where like everybody else gets a whole lot out of it. That like there's a lot to weigh, and there's a lot to consider, and there's a lot to... U.S. subsidizes other countries' medical research. Yeah, not just the research, but even like the cost of getting medicine. There's tons of things to where people are... Tom's the type of dude I can sell a gram of weed for $80. You're freaking retarded. I believe that you believe that, though.